1, 2, here we go. Thank you and good morning. I would invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we turn in our array hymn to our Music for Gathering, hymn number 277, When We Wend Homeward, hymn number 277 in the gray hymnal. Please be seated.
Welcome on this special Sunday, a return to our 2 services schedule as we begin a new church year together. It's really a beautiful time to focus on who we are as a community, not just on this day, but on all the days ahead. And look around. There are old friends, new folks. Really, look around. And there are folks online. You can see them in that back camera. Wave hello, folks online. There are choirs of singers and bells, and there are volunteers galore who make up this thing we call community. So, beloveds, welcome to each and all. I'm Reverend Theresa Rohlck, Minister of Pastoral Care. To those online, thank you for your presence, which reminds us that this community flows beyond the physical walls of this building. And if you are watching online right now, please introduce yourself in the chat. Greet each other, and if you are new, consider filling out a survey at uuaa.org/newcomersurvey so we can better connect with you. And for anyone here in the sanctuary who is new and may be wondering if this congregation might become your spiritual home, we have an in-person newcomer welcome immediately after the service in the Redmond room, which is just outside these doors, up a little ways, the first room on the left. There's a sign, and there are some friendly folks there to help answer any questions you have, to share a bit more about what we do here and about what Unitarian Universalism is. Now, visitors are welcome every Sunday, but a perfect opportunity for you to invite a friend or a neighbor to attend with you is coming up on September 22nd. It's our annual Visitor Sunday, which coincides brilliantly with our Social Justice Fair that will happen in the social hall after each service. Everyone, whether you're new or old, can learn about the important work UUAA is doing in our community. And for those who participate in the Social Justice Fair, including any new visitors, you'll be eligible to be entered into a raffle for a special prize. I don't know what the prize is, but it's special. Today's service is multi-generational, which means those of all ages are present for the whole service. Families and young ones are welcome to sit anywhere, but this carpeted area up front is especially kid-friendly, and it's a great space if you like to wiggle around. And it's near this area of things we have to do called soul work. And these are items for anyone, no matter what age, to pick up and use if you'd like. We also have just refurbished the wiggle room in the back, right behind the bell table. It's a beautifully redone space now, and it's a place where you can hear and see the service, but if you want it to be a little more private, that's a space you can use. Now, many Sundays, the youngest among us will be involved in spiritual growth and development programming, what we call SGD. SGD programming begins next week, Sunday, the 15th, when Dusty and Stella will co-lead an all-ages chapel for K through 7th grade. The Our Whole Lives, or OWL group, and the Coming of Age classes will have their first meetings on the 15th as well. And the YRUU, the high school youth group, will begin the following weekend. Now today, after the second service, and also on September 22nd, the SGD program orientation will be held between 1 and 3 in the Faz Chapel. Families, volunteers, kids, youth, anyone who wants to know more about what's going on in SGD is welcome to attend. And one more announcement, a bit in advance, but to let you know that the upcoming Friday Fun Night on September 20th is for all ages. It's a time to gather for food and fun and to be in community. The September Friday Fun Night will be a celebration of the autumnal equinox, featuring performance artist Deer Woman, who specializes in fire dancing and circus arts. There will be pizza and carrot cake, and always gluten-free and vegan options are available. So please bring your own place settings, a chair, or a blanket to sit on during the performance, because I am guessing that fire dancing happens outside. And a suggested donation is $5. So let's take a handful of breaths together now. Bring a presence to your mind and to your body as we move deeper into our worship time together. Let us remember the great privilege we have of being in community, physically and virtually. May our new church year be a blessed one as we share music and song, words, story, and ritual, today and in the weeks to come. We are gathered as a community. We are gathered for worship.
This is a special time for Unitarian Universalist congregations. Most of our congregations, churches, fellowships, and societies are joining together today in celebration of ingathering and water communion. This is one of the touchstones that most of our gatherings share across the diversity of our association. The most commonly celebrated ritual, however, in UU congregations is lighting a chalice. Sometimes it is a grand wrought iron piece with two interlocking circles that represent Unitarianism and Universalism. Sometimes it's just a tea light sitting on an unadorned table. Sometimes it's a bespoke piece like ours. Just as each gathering of UUs might have their own chalice set up, there are many meanings behind the ritual. We do it to mark the beginning of sacred time, to remember the chalice's origin and the fight against fascism. We do it because we like a focal point in our worship services, or for another reason altogether. We come to this moment as individuals with our own understanding of the task at hand. But through this ritual, we are reunited as a community. Our individual lives are joined to a greater purpose, and our hearts are open to each other and all of the possibility that is life in this moment. This morning's chalice will be lit by Jane Ferguson and family. Will you please join me on the chancel? Those of you who are joining remotely, I invite you to light a chalice as well, either lighting a candle or perhaps making a hand chalice if you don't have a candle handy. If you're online, I also invite you to type your name and where your chalice is lit into the chat box. Wherever you are, let's take a moment to enjoy generations, the beginning of something new, the bringing along of tradition. I invite you to join me in our chalice words. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace. Thank you, Jane and family. When I was a kid, maybe in the 4th grade or so, there was a book at my school library that I was moderately obsessed with. It was called Randy the Raindrop, and I loved that book, and I checked it out over and over and over again. It was about the water cycle and a young raindrop's journey from the sky to a river to the ocean where he was evaporated and became part of a cloud and then a raindrop again. At one point, he was a snowflake, and on it goes. The idea that water remains water no matter what form it takes still fascinates me. Can we just take a moment to appreciate that incredible journey? Solid, liquid, gas, always changing, yet always the same. In that same manner, our living tradition and our congregation grow and change, meeting the challenges of the modern day, and as we do so, we bring with us the previous shapes that we have taken. We are never not what we once were, yet we are always called to change. We bring the past with us as the future calls us ever forward, ever onward. Through every shape we have taken and in every possible future, we remain a covenantal people. We are people who are known by the shared promises we have made of mutual commitment and love. Covenants tell us who we are and who we aspire to be. So wherever you are, here in the sanctuary, at home, watching this later, I invite you to join out loud with your whole chest in reaffirming our congregation's covenant. The spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth and love, and to help one another.
Collective action requires individual commitment. As our story for all ages teaches us, when we flow together, we can make a real difference in the world. Higgins, A Drop with a Dream, by the Reverend Christopher Weiss. Once upon a time, there was a drop of water named Higgins. Higgins was no ordinary drop of water. He was a drop with a dream. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very long time. So all the lovely green grass was turning brown, all the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop. Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was only a drop of water. One day, Higgins decided to travel and tell others about his dream. All the other drops listened very politely, but no one believed that his dream would come true. "Higgins," said one, "get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming." Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think. One day, as he was walking by a rusty old bucket, he got an idea. If enough of us drops of water get together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers to help them grow and become beautiful again. Eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea. But everyone thought he was being foolish. "That Higgins is nothing but a dreamer," they said. Higgins decided he had to do something to convince the others that he was right. So he said to them, "I don't know about you, but I'm getting into the bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again." So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket. And there he sat, just one drop in the bucket. For a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could also see that the grass was dying, and the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping. They all agreed that something must be done. Suddenly, one drop shouted, "I'm going in the bucket with Higgins!" And he leaped through the air and landed kerplunk in the bucket. Then two other drops yelled, "Wait for us!" And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket. Kerplunk, kerplunk. Then 10 drops jumped through the air into the bucket. Then 30. Then 50. And then hundreds of drops came from all around just to hop in the bucket. Soon, the bucket was completely full of water. But there were still more drops that wanted to join, so they found another bucket and hopped in. Before long, there were 2 buckets of water, and then 3, then 4, then 10, then hundreds, and then thousands of buckets of water. Along came a powerful breeze that blew over all the buckets, and all the water flowed together to make a mighty stream. Everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green again, and the flowers bloomed, and the trees stood tall and straight once more. All this happened because Higgins had a dream, and his dream came true. Because he knew that although he was just one drop in the bucket, enough drops in the bucket make a bucket full. And when there are enough buckets with the wind behind them, then justice will roll down like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. May it be so. Thank you to the bells for that fabulous accompaniment. We need dreamers like Higgins. with the vision to see what is possible if we come together in a common purpose. But we also need the infinite single drops to open their hearts and minds to that possible so they can flow into one mighty stream. Every Sunday, when we arrive here, we are those individual drops of water. And then we transform into a community of love and action. One of the ways that we demonstrate our commitment is through the spiritual practice of our offering. It's a reminder that when each of us gives of our time, energy, money, talents, and presence, we can create a community that can do so much more together than we could ever do apart. There are many ways to give. You can drop cash or checks in the collection baskets as they pass through the rows. And for those that prefer a digital option, you can text UUAA to 73256, or you can go to uuaa.org/giving. However you give, thank you for your generosity and for your commitment to a brighter future that we, the individual drops, are all building together as a mighty stream. Today's offering will now be given and gratefully received.
In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sky is clear and red, when the summer's east is gleaming, when the corn is fast its prime, when adventure's lost its meaning, I'll be homeward bound in time, riding on to the pasture, shaping on to the vow, set me free to find my calling, and I'll return to you somehow. If you find it's me you're missing, if you're hoping I'll return, to your thoughts I'll soon be listening. In the road I'll stop and turn, then the wind will set me racing as my journey nears its end, and the path I'll be retracing when I'm homeward bound again, riding on to the pasture, shaping on to the vow, set me free to find my calling, and I'll return to you somehow. In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, I'll be homeward bound
Will the ushers please come forward? And as they do, I invite you to rise in body or spirit, wherever you may be, and say with me the words of dedication. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings. Thank you.
What a joy it is to be here with you all as we celebrate our ingathering with our annual water communion ritual. It is a remarkable thing to begin a church year as a community, a beautifully diverse and vibrant community. It is a remarkable thing to begin a church year surrounded by such incredible music, bells welcoming the new day, voices reminding us we are all homeward bound. And it is a remarkable ritual we do to start our new year, this thing we call water communion. Now, communion may bring to mind a very specific Christian ritual, but outside of that particular religious meaning, communion simply is participation in something which is common to all, and drawing from the word's Latin roots, meaning fellowship, mutual participation, sharing. And that is the kind of communion we are talking about, a Unitarian Universalist communion, in which the common shared element is water, a powerful element we know is essential for life. Now, you will, in a moment, have the opportunity to come forward and pour the water you have brought with you, perhaps from a place that holds deep meaning for you, perhaps from your travels over the summer, perhaps from your kitchen sink. And as you do so, you may share with one of us where the water is from, or its significance to you, if you wish. Now, this might be your very first time visiting us and you didn't know we did this. Or you may have left your container of water on the counter. Or you never had one to begin with. No matter, everyone is most welcome to come forward and pour from the pitchers that we have on the tables. If you are watching on live stream right now, please have your offering of water nearby you for the blessing later. And we welcome you to put in the chat where the water you brought is from. If you would like to have that water mingle with the rest of the water we collect, please bring a small container of it to the church office, and I'll make sure it's added. Now, you may have noticed there's another small table here in the center. We are joining with Unitarian Universalists across America by engaging in a ritual suggested by the national group Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East. They are inviting congregations to participate in this prayerful action in recognition of and in solidarity with the 2 million Palestinians in Gaza who are denied potable water by Israel, a war crime that is enabled by the United States. Palestinian civilians are dying en masse of starvation, thirst, preventable disease, and weapons of war. In June, the General Assembly of the UUAA passed a Solidarity with Palestinians action of immediate witness, calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. We are adding this empty cup ritual today as a show of solidarity, recognizing that we are always holding multiple truths. We can celebrate our privilege and fortune if we are among those for whom water is clean and safe and abundant. And we can engage in this additional ritual that invites us to take a stone and drop it into one of the empty metal cups or the bucket. And the sound will remind us that for so many, and not just in Gaza, but as near as Flint, Michigan, and as far as the Sudan, clean, safe, and abundant water is not a given. You also picked up a piece of paper as you came in, and we invite you to add a message of peace and hope for the Palestinian people, especially the children, and put it in the wooden bowl on the table. Now, if you did not get a piece of paper and would like one, just raise your hand and an usher will bring one by for you. Now, in a moment, I'll invite you to come forward. If those kind of on this half of the congregation will come over to this table, and those on this side, the other table. Note there are some smaller pitchers on the table that might be easier to use, especially for the younger ones among us. As you come up, please add the water, and then if you wish, move to the center and receive a stone from Mark Jagner, who is representing this congregation's chapter of UUs for Justice in the Middle East. So please come up at your own pace. There is no rush. As the line shortens, you can join in. If mobility is a concern for you, please raise your hand or let us know, and we will bring a bowl to you. So we begin by adding to the bowls water that has been saved and purified from previous years of water communions. This is perhaps my favorite part of our ritual, knowing that what we add today becomes mingled with our past and will exist into the future. Each time we dedicate a child or bury ashes or bless a home, we use this water, a very tangible reminder that we are truly part of an interdependent web of life. So let us begin our water communion. Dear ones, we have begun the new church year with this ritual of water communion. Each bowl now holds some of the water that has been collected in the past, along with the water offered today. Each year that we participate in this ritual, we are connecting in even deeper ways to this community. We are finding our way despite the challenges that confront us. We are wading in a completely new river as we begin this church year together. The waters are both treacherous and calm, and the yearning to keep connected is real and necessary, and our connections with each other keep us afloat. Wherever you are this moment, may you feel a sense of connection to something greater than yourself as we bless this water, acknowledging its power and our reliance on it for our very lives, acknowledging there still remain huge inequities in access to something so basic. May this water also remind us of our place in the larger ecosystem of this planet, our blue boat home. Amen. If you would, remain seated as we sing together hymn 100 in the gray hymnal. I've got peace like a river, verses 1 through 3, hymn 100.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul.
I love water communion. It is my favorite of the UU rituals that we engage in. And perhaps if you were like me and you came into Unitarian Universalism at some point in your young adult or later years, you may have been drawn to it because of its individualistic emphasis. This is a tradition which many of us find our way to because of the individual freedom that it gives each of us, which is often very refreshing. Wow, I have the freedom and the ability to follow my own path, figure out who I am and what it means to be human, embracing all of who I am and what I bring to community. Look at that individualistic freedom and emphasis that we grant one another in this tradition. And on this particular Sunday, a Sunday that is the start of the congregational year, we begin that congregational year with an affirmation of our communal commitment to one another. our commitment to care for each other and show up for each other and be there for one another in community. As I was holding these very strong emphases in our tradition, the individualistic orientation and this commitment that we make to one another in community, I found this past week a perfect expression of both that individualism and the communal commitment in the poetry of one of my favorite poets, Michigander Mark Nepo, who we hosted a couple years ago right here in this very sanctuary. And I wanted to share a little bit with you today some of his writing from his latest book from 2023. It's a book called Falling Down and Getting Up. And as I picked up this volume, there's a dedication poem in it. The entire volume that frames the entire volume that he's written. And that dedication poem is called The Great Waters by Mark Nepo. In the beginning, I thought I was going somewhere. I thought we all were. But falling into the river while trying to cross it, I finally understood. The journey is to follow the river, all the rivers, especially the ones no one can see. Soul is a fish whose home is in those rivers. So I can take you across if you want, but the secret is to go everywhere by going nowhere. And I will be here when you fall in. And falling in is not a failure, but an awakening. Mark goes on in the book to offer a few lines of exposition related to this poem. He writes, "Eventually, everyone will be dropped into the depth of life. It may happen because of some life-threatening illness or sudden loss, or from being loved unconditionally for the first time, or by the sudden beauty of grace. But once broken open, the deeper relational journey begins, by which we truly know that we are alive. Along the way, we will all experience fear, pain, and grief. Each can be overwhelming. In addition to this, we as human beings suffer the tendency to inflate or deflate our sense of self and the nature of our experience. As such, much of the spiritual journey centers around practices that help us learn how to see things as they are. Seeing things as they are can help us move through fear and pain. Grief, however, is another matter. Regardless of what we may lose that is dear, such a ripping away is life-altering, and there is no going back. These deeper teachers, fear, pain, and grief, will all find us in time. Our challenge has always been to help each other face what is ours to face, so we can be as alive as possible for as long as possible in the tender journey that we call love. Hear with me now again the words of Mark Nepo's poem, The Great Waters. I'll offer a few thoughts myself with each line. The Great Waters by Mark Nepo. In the beginning, I thought I was going somewhere. I thought we all were. I thought I was going somewhere. We all did. We had a destination in mind, one of my imagining, one of my choosing, maybe even our collective choosing at sometimes. But falling in to the river while trying to cross it, I finally understood. I thought the river was an obstacle to overcome, to conquer, or to master. But I fell in. I didn't conquer or master the river. All the rivers, I finally understood the journey is to follow the river. The journey is not one of crossing, getting through obstacles. The obstacles are the very thing of life itself. We are meant to flow with life, not master or conquer it. I finally understood the journey is to follow the river, all the rivers, especially the ones no one can see. The rivers of life aren't just the exterior physical things we encounter, but also the invisible interior parts of our lives. We each have a multitude of rivers flowing within us. The soul is a fish whose home is in those rivers. Our ego, our surface-thinking brain thinks the rivers are to be conquered, but our soul, our essence, our deeper selves, is perfectly at home in the river. So I can take you across if you want. We always have choice. We always have free will. The free will to try and cross the river, viewing it as an obstacle, and the free will instead to flow with it. The secret is to go everywhere by going nowhere. When we're flowing with the course of life, we're effortlessly taken to the destination that are ours to go to, be they physical or internal realms. And I will be here when you fall in. When life finds you, sweeps you with the current, you are not alone. I'm here with you. We are here with one another. And falling in is not a failure, but an awakening. Falling into the stream of life is never a problem or a failure. If anything, it's an opportunity to awaken or reawaken to our most essential purpose in this life, which isn't what our culture often implicitly or explicitly teaches us it is, which is to make money or make a name for ourselves. Instead, it is about learning how to be human in all its richness and complexity, in all our potential for doing good. In that potential, in that richness, in that possibility we each hold for living into the fullness of what life brings to us and has in store for us, we are here for one another, encouraging and supporting each other. May it always be so.